What's going on, everybody? Uh, I was trying to make a video yesterday, but I had so much going on, I didn't have the time. So today is going to be like a makeup video for that. Because normally I try to squeeze in like two stories for double whammy Fridays. So this is going to be a double whammy Friday for Saturday. So okay, first off, as usual, I'm going to talk about a ghostly experience that I had, in my life. Then I'm going to talk about two crazy stories. One story was sent to me by Kim Star 66. It was a story told by a 911 dispatcher. He said like it was like one of the creepiest, dispatches that he's ever actually been a part of. It was one of the creepiest phone calls he's gotten, from anyone since he's been a dispatcher. I mean, okay, but first, this is an experience I had right here in my home once again. This happened probably the first year when I bought my house. Most of the stuff that happened to me happened within that first year. So, excuse me. Um, I had fallen asleep on the sofa, and just a regular day. Well, it was at night, 'cause I think I had gotten home around like 5 o'clock in the morning, so it wasn't at night. It was early in the morning, but it was still dark outside. And I fell asleep, and happened to wake up. Well, my eyes were slowly opening up, and I saw before me, well, I was looking up and I saw what looked like to be the silhouette of a shadow person staring down at me. And it was kind of slender, but I could see the head, the shape of the head, the chin, the neckline, the shoulders, and it was just staring down at me. I couldn't see a face or anything. It was just staring down at me, and when I opened up my eyes fully, oh boy, when I opened up my eyes fully, it disappeared. Now I have heard on Coast to Coast AM that shadow people do not like to be noticed. They like to stay in the dark and do whatever it is they do. Now sometimes they will be seen in the light, so for them to not want to be seen, they sure do get seen in the light a lot. But you don't see them for long. Once you notice them, they just vanish. I had another experience like that when I don't know if I even talked about this on one of my previous videos, but when I was living in my mom's old house, I had two experiences there. With shadow people. The first one was it was either the first one or the second one, I'm not sure. But me, my mom, and my nana, God rest her soul, was standing at the top of the stairs, right in front of the door, leading outside. You know, and all of a sudden I saw this silhouette, this like shadowy silhouette walking up the stairs and right into the path of the light shining from the hallway. And I just happened to look, and I was like, oh, I jumped. I was like, whoa, because it was just that, visible and prominent. It was just like walking up the stairs and walk right into the light. And as soon as I jumped and said, whoa, it disappeared. And my mom and my nana was like, what's wrong? I was like, I just saw somebody walking up the stairs. So I was like, okay. I don't remember too much what happened after that, but, that was one of my shadow person experiences, which, happened in like many different places. Well, one of the main places, like I said, was here in my home, and where I lived at in Duluth in my mom's house. So I'm gonna save the next one about a shadow person for the next video, and of course all my others. I'm gonna try and do at least 1 to 2 experiences for each video, if not just one. Because like I said, I want to spread them out so that they'll last longer. But yeah, So today's story, once again, excuse me, is going to be about the Vanishing Man, which was told by a 911 dispatcher, you know, and basically he described like one of the creepiest, calls that he's ever gotten from anybody. Okay, it starts off like this. From what he said, a year into the job in a pretty large town with woods all around, I got a call from a young man, identified himself as 21, said he went on a hike with his best friend. Okay. This is where it got weird. I asked for his location, and it was 50 miles from the nearest trailhead, but not in the direction the trails move. I asked him to tell me what the problem was, and what services he needed, when he burst into tears, saying one moment his friend was in front of him, and the next he was gone. Dispatched sheriff and was told neither man was ever found. Still freaks me out. Now, see, yeah, that's a pretty creepy story. It's short, but very, very, like, just ominous almost, because when you think about it, this young man who only identified himself as 21 either didn't want to give his name, or I don't know. Oh, jeez. With most callers, when it comes to 911, they give you the option to give your name, and if you don't want to, that's just perfectly fine. So he obviously didn't want to do that, and so he just gave his age. Now, for him to say, he starts bursting into tears, and he said, "One moment, please." And he said his friend was in front of him. Now, something out there only gave them one option, and it was an option that they couldn't refuse. Whatever that option was, I don't know. Maybe they were threatening them to come with them, and if they didn't, they would kill them. And I'm pretty sure they didn't want to die, so they only gave them one ultimatum. And obviously, they would never be able to return. So I guess he looks at his friend, and he said he was probably telling him with his eyes that it's time to go. So it was his last attempt to try and get away from whatever it was they were trying to get away from, but obviously they had no choice in the matter. What they could have done or used to threaten them, I don't know. And see, with a lot of these cases, people just vanish without any cause, for concern. It's just weird, because there's never any reason for them to disappear. It's just they just vanish. And even if they get a chance to use their phone and call 911, it's a very sketchy call. Sometimes the call drops after a second. Sometimes they'll get a chance to say something, but it's something that was so just like quick or out of the ordinary, you never could understand exactly what the call was all about. Sometimes they would be like, "Oh my God, where are you?" Or, "I need some help." After that, the call drops, and then sometimes you'll hear them screaming for dear life away from the phone. It's like you actually hear their voice like becoming distant, like it's dissipating as it's moving away from the phone. So it's almost like they're being dragged off, and then after that, that's it. So it puts your mind in a very strange place, because you sit there and wonder and think about all the things that you think could have happened to these two people, or anybody for that matter. It's like your mind goes in overdrive trying to say, okay, what could have happened to him? So you start thinking of stuff. Could it have been aliens? Could it have been some sort of entity that we don't know anything about? Could they have been abducted by someone that held them at gunpoint? Or, because if they shot him in a certain part without killing them, they would have been screaming, or it sounded like they was in pain, but all he did was cry. So I'm not even sure what could have happened to him, but it makes me wonder what could have happened to him. I think about all sorts of things. And it obviously it was some sort of physical being that only gave them one option. And maybe the threat was they would kill them if they didn't come with them. And it makes you wonder about all the other people that disappear. You got all these people that have a very high intelligence, and then you have your people that have these medical problems, and then you have your young children at the age of 2. Most of them are brought back dead with no cause of death. It's almost like their life was sucked out of their body. And then you have the ones that don't return. So obviously the ones that don't return may still be alive today, but just in another dimension somewhere, another parallel earth, another reality, where they are actually able to thrive and live another life that they were kind of forced in. I'm gonna say kind of, but were forced into. Or maybe they were forced into slavery. I don't know, but I would still love to believe that they are still alive. So as far as what could have happened to these people, I don't know. Maybe they by them being highly intelligent, maybe they needed their expertise in knowledge for something on their planet or on their world that they didn't have, and they knew that they could help them. Maybe they use these people to rebuild their civilization. I don't know. Maybe they use all these people to breed so that they could have intelligent life forms, amongst them, of their own kind. I don't know. I mean, think about all these, like all this crossbreeding we hear so much about with aliens. How they always take our DNA, and then next thing you know, you find a half human, half alien hybrid, with big eyes, like the ones with the almond shaped eyes, and like it looked like he had a mop for hair. It's very like thick and just matted, but it's straight. I don't know, but there's so many variables to all of this as to what is going on here, and I hope, to God, that one day we will find out what. Even though I'm thinking it will a lot closer than we think, because of the theories that we come up with that seem to fit the criteria of these disappearances, because the evidence, like I've been saying before, leads you in that direction to where you start thinking about this stuff, and sometimes you could be spot on. The only problem is there's so many people that tend to not believe it because it's so out there. So they be like, oh man, this is ridiculous. Why am I even thinking about it? That's impossible and all this stuff. They start thinking like that, which is a perfectly normal human trait. We're so like I said, we've been brainwashed to believe to believe that the unbelievable is just that unbelievable, and they just feed us with all this stuff that ain't got nothing to do with what's really going on this planet. We can learn about, human history, like George Washington. Not saying that learning about him isn't important, but we need to learn just as much about our own planet as much as we do about, as much as we have learned about human history, that date all the way back to the caveman days, so it's just a huge mystery as to how, and like I said, when you hear stuff like that, it's like you stand there all day wondering what could have happened to him. It's like you almost hear what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden that's it. Just like with him, he starts to cry, and he says one moment, next thing you know, he was gone. So he obviously hung up the phone knowing that he had no other choice in the matter, and he went with these beings or people, and they were never found. They were never seen again. So obviously, when you look at those kind of stories, and the only option is to think that maybe they somehow either fell off the face of the earth, or they walked into oblivion, or they were forced and transported to some other world. I would like to think that would be a very huge adventure, but in a matter like that, I would think that whether you wanted to or not, you had no choice in the matter. It's weird. I could never even think about what could happen. I could come up with all the theories in the world, and every single one could really actually solve what happened to these men. But at the same time, if there's, people who always say if there's no proof, then what else do you have? Sometimes you don't need proof. You already know. It's just a matter of you believing that it happens. And if it was reality to us, it wouldn't be so hard to even it wouldn't be so hard to accept it. So what else can I say about that? There's nothing too much else to say, because of the fact that the story is there, and this came from a 911 dispatcher, and he was talking to the man, and all of a sudden he's just gone, and then he dispatches the sheriff, and they never find him in that area. So it's weird. They could probably triangulate where the call came from, and they go there, and there's nothing there, no sign of them whatsoever. So they were hiking, so that means all of their gear was gone. They never mentioned that part, but obviously all of their gear was gone. All of their supplies went with them, and the question is to where. Now, were they standing in front of like a vortex, tunnel, to where they had to walk through it, or did they just disappear in midair as they were walking into it? Because like I said, energy can't be seen with the naked eye unless you use some sort of like technology or device where it can detect energy. Just like an infrared, camera. They I've heard of some cameras being able to pick this stuff up. Like, say, there was one story about a man who was flying over a mountain range, and he said it was this white. He took a picture of this white, like shimmering bubble that hovered right in front of him, and I think that might have been the entrance to another world or something like that. Because same thing happened to a bunch of pilots that flew over the Bermuda Triangle. There was a story about this actress whose father disappeared over the Bermuda Triangle. They said, and a psychic told her that he went into this tunnel and he instantly died after that. Maybe the tunnel had no air in it, and it was more like a vacuum, and it sucked the air right out of his body, and he died. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how dramatic that was, but she said as soon as he entered the tunnel, he died. This was like way back in the mid to probably like early mid to late 90s. I'm not sure. But I remember hearing this story. So, and I can't remember the name of the actress though. I can't. So don't ask. Okay. Now, today's other story is going to be about Luke Homan. Okay, he went missing on 09/30/2006 at 2:15 a.m. in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Okay, he was 21 years old when he disappeared. Okay, in researching Luke's case, I read several articles describing his great ability as a basketball player at Brookfield Central. He was averaging 19.1 points per game as a 6'3" guard. Luke wasn't just a great basketball player. He was also an honorable mention All-State choice as quarterback. As quarterback for his high school's football team. So he was like a renaissance man. He played, at least 2 different types of sports. So that's good. That means he's very athletic and very strong. Okay. Finally, Luke. Excuse me. Finally, Luke completed his three sport athletic season. Also, 3 sports. I only mentioned 2 though. I only mentioned basketball and football. Okay. Let's see. Finally, Luke completed his 3 sport athletic season by also playing baseball. Oh, okay. I didn't read the rest of it. Luke had very good grades in addition to his athletic ability, and enrolled at the University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee to play Division I basketball. He played at Milwaukee, but didn't get a lot of playing time, and transferred to La Crosse to get more time at the Division III level. Luke was smart enough to realize that the dream of playing sports as the professional, at the professional level may not be realistic. He chose a major in finance and and ensure that his future had a great job waiting for him. He had talked to his family about pursuing a master's degree in business at University of Wisconsin at Madison. The weekend of September 23rd, 2006, had Luke and his dad watching Michigan and Wisconsin duel in football, and the Packers take on the Lions. Let's see. Luke returned to lacrosse the next week to take on school. Luke did call his parents the morning of September 29th, 2006, and everything appeared great. He told his folks that his cousin would be stopping by his place to say hi. The weekend of September 29th had lacrosse celebrating their German heritage with Oktoberfest. I see there's that German scenario again. So I'm guessing he might have been German. I guess Hogan may be a German name. I guess I'm not sure. Let's see. There were big crowds in the city and a lot of beer drinking. On September 29th, Luke got a ride with two of his friends to the downtown party. They first stopped at a sub shop for a quick meal, and then moved on to a few bars. The last stop on Luke's night was the Liberty Bar at approximately 1:30 a.m. What happened after the Liberty Bar is a confusing and mysterious scenario that has no concrete answers, like the majority of cases in this book. One scenario involves an individual that was with Luke for part of the evening. There were claims that they may have been at a park near the river later that night. This person was questioned and then later arrested for supplying false information to the police. He was allegedly lying about his name, birth date, etc. An October 1st, 2006 article in the journal Sentinel had this statement from one of Luke's basketball teammates. None of it makes any sense. There are so many different scenarios that people have said. There's a 4-hour time span where none of our friends nobody knows where he was. Law enforcement did try to find CCTV footage of Luke in the area of the bars he frequented the night in question. As a pure unusual coincidence, each of the cameras in each of these locations was not functioning the night he went missing. Big surprise. You either see him see most of these men on camera, on the CCTV cameras, walking in a direction, and once they're out of sight of the camera, that's when they're actually taken. But in this case, none of them were working, which is another odd scenario, because most of the time you see them on the camera. Just like the part where I said in one of my last videos where a CCTV camera caught a person standing at the edge of a river, and then when the camera pans away, then pans back, and then the person is gone. It's like they disappeared. So it's almost like they jumped in the water. Now, if the camera had enough time to look back and see a ripple in the water, like as if someone dived into it, then you could actually surmise that he actually jumped in. But if you didn't see that, then that means they just vanished. So who knows? Okay. As a pure unusual coincidence, each of the cameras in each of these locations was not functioning the night he went missing. How many times have we heard that cameras weren't functioning or didn't catch the exact moment that the people should have been seen? The police were called, and Luke was reported as a missing person. Canines were brought in brought in and tracked the scent to an area of the Mississippi River. Divers were put in the river on October 2nd. At 9:45 a.m., divers found his body in 10 feet of water, 20 feet out from the 20 feet out from the levee at Riverside Park. I see there's at Riverside Park because here in Georgia we have a Riverside Parkway. But anyway, okay. Police tracked down the people who were with Luke the night he vanished. Searchers of vehicles were made, and allegations were flung throughout the city as people tried to understand what was happening. There were even allegations that others may have been intoxicated that night and somehow had lost memory. Okay. It's by them being intoxicated. You do lose your memory, especially when you crash real hard, and when you wake up you have no memory of what happened that night, or even if you do, certain parts of your memory is gone. That has happened to me before, because yes, I do drink, and I have gotten drunk a couple of times where like I don't even remember how I got upstairs to a certain room, and I woke up the next day at 3 o'clock in the morning, not remembering how I even got up there in the first place because I blacked out. And so that's what happens with a lot of people. They drink a lot, they black out and have no memory of what happened. So yeah, so it is very possible. Okay. In short, nobody was arrested for injuring Luke. Officers searched Luke's room for evidence and made a very strange find. Under his bed, Luke's roommate found his cell phone. It was reported that the night he went missing, he had his phone. The phone alarm had gone off the morning after he went missing because he had an alarm set for a golf game he had scheduled with friends. How the phone got under his bed is the $1,000,000 question. Police never oh boy, here we go again with these weird words. Supponed. Okay. Let's see. Supponed Luke's cell phone records to determine its travel the night he went missing. This is just another in a very long line of cases where the person disappeared without personal possession of their cell phone. Let's see. In Gannon and Gilbertson's book, Case Studies in Drowning Forensics, they make a strong case that canines were hitting on scent emanating from a dead body in the water, not the point that the body went in the water. This means that Luke had to have entered the Mississippi River farther upstream to end up where he did at the park. You see, Gannon and Gilbertson reviewed photos of Luke's autopsy that stated that there were no changes in the cornea or sclera. Okay. You see, skin slippage had not begun. Rigor had started to relent at autopsy late in the day on October 2nd. Lividity was still moving at the time of autopsy. All of these facts told Gannon and Gilbertson that Luke hadn't been dead as long as reported. Law enforcement officials reported Luke's blood alcohol level at 0.32%. He was a big man at 6'3", but 0.32% is still very high. The medical examiner did test for GHB in Luke's system. He got conflicting results and had it done twice. One test showed some amount. Another test showed an amount too low to register. Because of the facts surrounding the GHB reports, Gannon and Gilbertson wrote this on page 352 of their book. Therefore, we could not rule out an exogenous exogenous external source of the GHB discovered in Luke's urine. The autopsy did reveal some minor injuries to Luke's body. There was a small injury to his forehead and other minor injuries to his hands. So I'm guessing if he had small injuries to his forehead, maybe as he was in the water, his forehead bumped up against something in the water, and injuries to his hands would mean he was probably trying to hold on to something so the current wouldn't take him downstream. So it might have been something that cut his hand as he tried to grab it, or maybe, I'm not sure. So he might have been trying to hold on to something as the current flow was taking him down, or maybe something had him that it still is unexplainable, and it pulled him to the point where he forcefully let go of this object that he may have been holding on to, which is just an educated guess because I wasn't there. So let's see. Okay, here we go. Law enforcement explained the head injury as a scraping injury that happened underwater, which is exactly what I said. Gannon and Gilbertson refuted that statement. Okay, another oddity found at autopsy was that Luke's belt had not been placed through each of the loops on his pants. They also discovered that the buckle had been locked into a position much tighter than he'd even used in the past. While it's possible that Luke missed, let's see, come on, I'm trying to grab this page, but it's want to act all stubborn. All right. While it's possible that Luke missed a loop when getting ready earlier in the night, I can attest that there have been many cases I've investigated where pants weren't on the body properly. Zippers were down and belt buckles were not fastened. Many people have told me that this reminds them of a scenario where someone else is putting on the clothes of an individual who is unconscious. That's weird. Okay, all of the forensic and physical evidence pointed to one thing for Gannon and Gilbertson. On page 362 of their book is this statement. Autopsy evidence suggested to us that Luke was deceased upon being placed into the Mississippi River. Our findings relative to putrefaction or putrefaction. I don't know. Let me see. Maceration, rigidity, and lividity led us to conclude that Luke had not been dead for a period of 24 hours as originally thought. Rather, his time of death and entry into the water was even later than what was originally believed. Luke was most likely dead for a period of 8 to 12 hours, taking into account water temperature, 58 degrees, and even the 2.1 ratio for water to land decomposition. Okay. Where was Luke for the majority of the time he was missing? How did he get into the water? How did he get into the river in an area far from shore? if he had fallen in from the bank, he most likely would have stayed closer to the shore. There is a recurring theme in these stories. The students are alive somewhere for hours or days until they are killed and placed into the water. If someone believes that Luke got into a physical altercation with someone, think again. Excuse me. Let's see. He would have been a formidable target. He was a big man with an athletic build. Let's see. No, I'm sorry. We don't know how he would have garnered that level of alcohol in his system if he had been alive for days after his disappearance. This fact implies that he was given some large dose of alcohol while he was missing. Was this given to him to blur the reality that he wasn't in the river the entire time, and make us believe that he accidentally fell in and drowned? Okay, just the fact that he turned up, dead with all these mysterious findings surrounding his death. Now he was obviously not dead the entire time he was in the water, so that means he was somewhere else and was either forced to drink a lot of alcohol, or they poured it down his throat when they killed him to make people think that he was drinking a lot. Now there was a story that Tyler put out on Secure Team, which I suggest you check out because it's a pretty good channel on YouTube. Of course, he doesn't talk about people who vanish. I mean, it depends on the scenario and if it's related to UFO findings. Because basically, what he talks about is UFOs that people record and send into him, and he talk about abductions, all kinds of stuff dealing with aliens and UFOs, and the fact that the government tries to hide it, especially NASA, when you see UFOs flying near the space station in space, but they'll try to block it out with their hand or turn the camera or cut the feed as as a UFO passes by. Now there was a video that he put out a couple of days ago about these two men from, I think they were from Portugal, I believe. They were found wearing these lead glasses that looked like they were handmade. They said that they couldn't find a cause of death on the body. The inside of the body looked like it had rotted out, like as if they'd been dead for a large amount of time. But the outside of the body was pristine and clean. There was no sign of death on the body as far as the outside on the flesh. There were no bullet holes, bullet wounds, or anything. Now, in this note that they found near them, or in their pockets, it was written in their foreign language. But when they translated it, it said a number of things. A time when it's supposed to go get something from a certain place, and then a time when it's supposed to take a capsule, and then something else I can't remember. I'd have to look at the video. But this capsule might be something that is relevant to that is relevant to the cases in these missing 411 cases. Because think about it, these people are always turning up dead with no cause of death on the body, but yet at the same time they're dead. There's something killed them. Now I'm thinking that this capsule that these two men was trying to take might have had something to do with their death. It's probably some sort of pill that can shut down the body and kill you, but it's undetectable in the system. So they said something about a capsule, but the capsule was nowhere to be found in their system, or whatever kind of drug that capsule may have been harvesting. So maybe, just maybe, this capsule is the one thing that is put in these people's system, but it's never found. Okay, just like with me, I'm gonna tell you right now that I was drugged one time before in my life. Somebody put some type of It was like an oily substance on my food. I didn't realize it did because it was clear. You know, it was like it was very transparent. It was like almost like someone poured like a clear gel on my food, and I had already stirred it up and everything. I ate it, and soon after that, by the time I walked to where I was going, I started feeling the heaviness of breath. I could barely breathe. I was dizzy. My heart was pounding, and it caused a lot of problems in me until I burned it out my system. But here's the thing: it was undetectable in my system because I found out about this drug years later on Unsolved Mysteries, where it's actually a poison. It won't kill you, depending on how much they put in your system. I guess I'm not sure, but it didn't kill me either. I'm still here. But it is clear, tasteless, oily, and undetectable in your system, which is exactly what I could describe as far as what happened to me. It was oily, it was tasteless, and it was clear. And I'm imagining that last part, being undetectable in your system, was probably it too as well. So maybe it's some sort of drug that they put in the bodies of these people before they kill them, or this could be what kills them. But over time, this capsule dissolves, and it's almost like it just vanishes from sight in the body. So it's undetectable in the system. That's just my interpretation on it. I could go to that video because I did send it to Kimstar66 after she sent me that story about the Vanishing Man. Let me see. Okay, yeah, this is the video, and like I said, it talks about all kinds of crazy stuff. And they were believed to be time travelers. It was like a time travel gone wrong. And then, like I said, they were found with lead glasses on the body. And see, this is the picture right here. And these are the actual men that were found dead. And those are the lead glasses. Then the lead glasses look all distorted, like as if they were made from scratch. They somehow carved it out of something. They were very uneven, but it was to protect their eyes or whatever the case may be. Probably when they're going through this time tunnel, it causes some sort of blindness, because it's probably like a bright energy that is being, that is emanating from this tunnel. I guess I don't know. This is just an educated guess, but yeah, it's some weird stuff. But yeah, the most I can get from that video is I'd have to watch it or let you listen to it, and he talks about all this stuff. I meant to write that stuff down, but I was like, pressed for time when I first heard about it and when I first listened to it. But if I need to, I will listen to it again and write some information down about it, because what intrigued me was their deaths, and how they were found. They were found in a very marshy area or a very wooded area, deceased, and they were both wearing like suits. And there was a picture of their bodies. They took a picture. This happened like in the early 50s, or like mid to late 50s, early 60s. Like I said, their bodies were found in a wooded area, and they were identified, at that point. Where I believe like I said, they were from Portugal or something like that. But yeah, it's some weird stuff. Like I said, if I need to, and I probably will anyway, I will listen to it and write down the information that I need to talk about on this channel, and I'll get back to you guys on that. Now, another thing I want to talk about too. You may have seen this on my Facebook page and on the chat room for unexplained disappearing people and all that stuff. It's about these young women that are turning up missing in DC. It's a total of 12 girls. The first time it was like a total of 12 girls who was at the age of 14. And these are all African American young women that turned up missing in DC. And then another batch of young women that aged down to about maybe 6 or 7, maybe 8, anywhere between 8 and 10, are turning up missing as well. I just saw a news bite of it on early this morning before I left work, and they were talking about it. That was like actually the first time I actually heard about it, because it's been posted on Instagram, And I posted it on. I shared it on Facebook, about it, and I put it on all the major pages, for Facebook, of all the people that are interested in people who vanish. So I'm gonna get some information together and I'll post that on my channel, because that's something it's weird. We're talking about within a year's time, a total amount of like 24. A total amount of 12 young 14-year-old black African American women at the age of 14 disappeared within 24 hours. Okay, and it's all across DC, and it could be some sort of sex trafficking, or it could be this organ harvesting deal. I'm not sure. I'm gonna try and look into it a little bit more, but there's really no answers to all of this, because they just up and just vanished, all over DC within 24 hours. So nobody has any answers to what's going on, and the fact that the law enforcement blatantly or just acted too late on the situation. They didn't never put out an Amber Alert, in time for people to be warned about this, So, and I will keep my ears tuned to the news, or even my eyes peeled to social media, or what's going on, because a friend of mine has been sending me a lot of information on this situation, and I'm fairly upset about it, because first I hear about these young men being gutted of their own organs for organ harvesting, and then I hear about these young black women being taken, under some means that we're not aware of at the moment, and nobody has any answers. It's like they just vanish from sight, just like all of these stories in the missing 411 books. But like I said, I'm going to keep looking into this and try to find out as much as I can about what's going on with these young women. These are teenagers, okay? These are young lives that are being taken. Hopefully they are still alive. If and God forbid they are deceased, or they had their organs removed, for whatever the case may be. But I'm gonna try and get as much of that information as I possibly can for future videos. So just stay tuned, and I will, post that on my channel. So, but yeah, that's all I got today on these stories. Very weird and very mind-boggling. It's very and baffling all at the same time. So, like I said, I just want to say thank you to all my subscribers. And I gotta show you guys something. I'll be right back. I meant to put this on, but I hadn't had time. Looky what I got. I got my t-shirts. All right, let me get a little closer here. Check it out. See that? That's my logo right here on the shirt. If you can see it. Hold on, let me see. Okay, there we go. I got my t-shirts. So if there's anybody out there that wants to purchase one of my t-shirts to help promote my channel, wear it with pride, on the streets where you live, wear it to work if you have to. But I'm going to post some information in the description on where you can go, because I have a PayPal, so I'll put my email address on there. You can go there. If you have a PayPal, you can go there, and the shirts is like $20. If you can do that, that's cool. If you can't, I understand. But t-shirts are $20. You can purchase these through my PayPal, and I will. Then what you do is email me your address, and I will definitely send them to you. Now I have a total of 10 t-shirts. Okay, so right now I have, let me see, 7. Actually, this is one of the 7. And I will, whoever wants one, like I said, just you can email me your information. I will definitely send them to you. Just like I said, use my email address for my PayPal, and transfer the money to my PayPal account. And I will definitely, when I get the money, I will definitely send it out to you. Like I said, just send me your information. Email it to me, and I will. Or you can put it in your comment section. Well, I won't say comment section, but just, like I said, that's I wouldn't want you to do that. For everybody to see that. So email your information, to me, and I will definitely send it to you. So that's it, guys. That's all I got today. So I will see you once again on the next show, on the next episode, and hopefully it'll be a little bit longer. Like, I want to try and put like an hour video on next time. Just depends on what kind of information I got. So always imparting aloha, mahalo, and ahuiho, which means till we meet again. And that's exactly what's going to happen. All right. Have a great day, guys. It's sunny here in Georgia. I hope it's sunny where you are, and I hope you're having a great day. All right. Tell your friends about me. You know what to do. Bye.